Okay, looks like we are started. Brilliant. Okay. Right, so I just thought I'd do another live stream again of how I create a track. This one is particularly inspired by Chris Jarman, also known as Kamikaze Space Program, and he produces under Raiden as well. Used to produce drum and bass and sort of jungle. You should go and look him up. He's pretty cool. He did a live stream a couple of days ago from Berlin, sort of for Deep Blue Sound and for various other. Hang on, let me just find it quickly on my phone. He did a live stream on Twitch. Yeah. It was for Deep Blue Sound Music School in Berlin, who incidentally also have a music school down here in Devon. But it was with someone called Eclectic Berlin. You can look that up on Twitch, or I'll put a link in the comments after I finish this video. I pretty much wanted to just run through how I make a track, and taking some inspiration from Chris. So right, let's get Ableton up. Okay, so he started out with an acoustic sort of drum sound, and even though just stop that. So even though he's making pretty heavy duty techno sort of electronic sounds, he started with an acoustic drum kit, which is quite a unique, quite a cool idea. So I'll see if I can do something along those lines. Let's start out with making a drum beat. We've got quite a few different kicks and sounds and things in here, so there's a nice side stick there, snares, claps, another kick as well. That's pretty big and heavy, that. I quite like that. Maybe we should try that. Let's just bring the velocity of these ones down, give it a bit of a sort of groove. I might actually reduce the length of the decay on that kick, so that's kick 16. So if I bring that decay down a little bit, let's just play that, see what that sounds like. If I bring the sustain down on that, and then bring the decay down, yeah, nice. Right, so let's get some hi-hats in there, get something interesting going on with the hi-hats. So if you hold Command and then hover over where you've placed in a note, you can actually adjust the velocity really easily from there. You just hold down Command and then drag up and down. Okay, so then maybe let's make that into a closed hi-hat pattern. There we go. Okay, it's a nice little 4-beat loop there. I'm just going to double that up. So I just press Command and D to duplicate that, and you can see down the bottom right hand side here that that's well, you can see that then that's actually doubled up that pattern. I'll increase the loop to 2 bars there just by dragging that little marker up the top there, and I'll maybe change the kick pattern here slightly. Okay, sounding pretty cool. So maybe I'm just going to try and possibly match the pattern of the kick drums with the ride here. Just to give it a little bit more emphasis, make it really sort of hard hitting. I'm also going to bring the well, change the velocities of those ride hits. Yeah. I'm also going to bring the decay of that ride down a little bit. So if I change the sustain and then cool. Right. Okay. So got that going now. Okay, so that sounded pretty good. Let's maybe run that through some sort of distortion. So we'll go over to our audio effects. We will open up yeah, some sort of overdrive. Maybe let's just chuck on the overdrive without any setup, and what we will do. Yeah, I'll just run that through there first and see what that sounds like. I'll turn the drive down a little bit. Okay, that's just making that quite a lot louder. Sounds quite muffled, so I'll bring the Okay, that sounded pretty cool. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to run another instance of that through another instance of the drums here through like a clean signal, not through an overdrive. Sorry. So I have one version running through the overdrive and another version running through nothing, so no effects. So that's basically like sort of parallel processing. So if I select that and press Shift and then select Acoustify Kit there, and then if I group those together, that'll put the kit into an instrument rack, which you can see here. I'll open up the chain list. Right, now you can see that there is that is running through. Sorry, that is the kit there running through this overdrive, and then what I will do is I will create another chain. Sorry, I'm just going to move that overdrive into here. I believe that should work. No, I've just put that onto the right. Let me put that into. I think into. Oops, into. Let's go back. Let's do that again. Let's put that into there. Okay, so now. Okay. So if I delete that chain there, if I duplicate, I think if I press Command and D, I should be able to duplicate that kit. There we go. And then so the top one has got overdrive on it. The bottom one's got the overdrive on it now, but I'm going to delete that. So if I solo the lower one, this has got no overdrive on it. That one's got an overdrive on it. So if I play them both together. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn down the volume of the one with overdrive on it and then mix that back into the clean drum signal. Okay, that all sounds pretty good to me. Obviously that MIDI pattern is feeding into both of those kits. You can see here there's two drum kits in there. So let's rename that, let's call that drums. I'm also not going to worry too much about EQing everything at the minute. I'll do that afterwards. This is purely sort of song creation that I'm doing here, or something along those lines. Right, okay, that's cool. Maybe I can put on some sort of glitch sound on top of that. So one of my favourite things to use is the buffer shuffler, which is a Max for Live patch. Let's get that. Okay, yeah, buffer shuffler. Let's drag a copy of that onto our drums. Just wait for that to load up. Okay, so basically the buffer shuffler is like it's just this mad piece of kit that it glitches everything up. And so what I'll do is I'll probably play my drums through that and then I'll record the output of it. I like to just stick it on auto for most of the settings and just let it sort of glitch out. And yeah, let's just see what we can do with that. Right, so the left and the right side, right channels. Let's put that on auto. Bring the steps down to. Let's go for 4. Well, in fact, let's go for 4 or 8 even 8, and then maybe 2 bars. Let's get a nice like reverse in there at the end. So I believe that when you put when you click on this auto button here, yeah, the auto dice mode, it links the left and the right side, right channels that are running through that. So the stutter, let's put that on auto as well. Gate on auto. I'm not too worried about changing the pitch of anything at the moment, or even the amplitude, but I'll just leave it as that, like that for the minute, and just see what that sounds like. What I'm going to also do is put in an audio track here, and call that glitch drums. A useful little shortcut as well to rename anything. If you select it and then on a Mac hit Command and R, you can just rename stuff really easily instead of right clicking and clicking on rename. Oh, there we go, it says it there. Right, okay, so if I hit record on that and I put the input as drums, let's see what that sounds like. Pretty bizarre. That's what that sounds like. Maybe let's cut that down to 4 steps. See what that sounds like. Maybe bring a bit of the dry wet down. Find it quite cool to fiddle sometimes with the amount of steps and things you've got in here as well. So let's put that up to like 16. Now let's put the auto onto the pan. Okay, so it sounds pretty cool, but maybe it might actually sound a bit better with like some sort of reverb on it. So let's put yeah, let's I'll tell you what, let's make a return channel, insert a return jack. Let's get the buffer shuffler, and if I press Command and C, or Command and X, sorry, I can cut that out of the drums, the buffer shuffler, and then if I go to the return channel, I can press Command and V and paste that onto the return channel. So it's now a send effect. So if I now, I mean that, yeah, it sounded all right, that, but I'm not particularly enamored with it. When I started adjusting it and I got towards the end there, I think some of this sort of stuff sounded pretty cool. Let's just turn that off and listen to that. See, that's got some cool little glitches and things in it. Yeah, I quite like that. So okay, so I know now that the settings on the buffer shuffler are how I want them. So I can actually, let's get rid of that glitch drums, and if I put in the input there from the buffer shuffler here, and I put on maybe a bit of I could probably put on a bit of reverb, yeah. So the Convolution Reverb Pro is a really cool reverb. There's just so many things to choose from in there, so many different types of reverb. So I'll probably go for something like a nice sort of spring reverb and see what that sounds like. So if I put that onto in, turn that off for the minute, so we can just hear. I'll send that full 100% to our return channel here, and we'll just listen back to see what that sounds like now. Through this channel. Okay, so if I hit record, we should be able to hear what the affected sound sounds like. Yeah, pretty crazy. So maybe I'll just turn the dry wet signal down a little bit. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Well, that's sounding pretty cool so far. Right, let's just have a quick look at what's going on here. Okay. Sorry, I just had to check that the live stream was still happening all right. It seems to be struggling a little bit, but it might be due to the size of the screen that I've got there, the size of the stream setting. I seem to struggle quite a bit with that because I've got a really slow internet connection here. Right, okay, so let's go back to the project. Okay, so now I've basically recorded in a load of crazy glitch drums there. So let's listen back to that, and maybe I could select some sort of loop out of that. Or I could chop this up later and just, yeah, we can use that. So let's try that. So, yeah, that sounded pretty mad to begin with. Too much reverb, I think. There we go, start to rein the reverb in a little bit there. I mean, to be honest, I think that sounds pretty cool. Maybe we could just loop, let's see, loop like 4 bars or something like that. Four bars, what am I talking about? That's 16 bars. Okay, let's pump up the volume of that a bit. Okay, that's cool. Right, let's think about making some sort of bass line. Okay, so for the bass line, really I want to construct something in Reason. So let me just see if I can set up Reason as an extra window in this live stream. You have to bear with me for a second. I can just wait for that to load up quickly. Right, it's just about loading up now. Yeah, okay. So hang on just a second. I will add another capture device to this. Let's have a look. Window capture. Let's call that one Reason. Here we go. Right, okay. So now you should be able to see that in Reason. I'm just going to actually make the window a little bit smaller. I realise that I've got two things on top of each other here, and this might be quite confusing. So basically one of my favourite things to use in Reason at the moment is this Europa shape-shifting synthesizer. This is an absolutely wicked piece of kit. You can just pretty much do anything or design anything with it. So let's have a look at some bass sounds and see what we can go with. Something that sounds pretty cool. So okay, so now that I've got this set up, I need to put a channel into Ableton so that you can hear the input from Reason. So right click, insert an audio channel, audio in from Reason. and then I click on in. There we go. Cool. That actually sounds pretty mad. Alright, let's hit play and see what we can come up with. Like that. Just do with a bit more distortion or something, I'd say. To reason. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually sorry, I don't know if you could hear me then because the drums are playing pretty loud. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually record in a load of notes and just see if I can arrange them into some sort of like pattern, some sort of groove. So if I press double click on stop, it should go back to the start. Right. Okay, so let's go into that, and I know that seems probably quite random, but that's because it was. No, I chose that note. I chose the E note just because it just seemed to sit right. It was nice and bassy and really, really weighty. So now I'm going to quantize those notes, just listen back to it and see what that sounds like, see if it sounds any good. I don't know if that quantize actually worked. Oh, yeah, it seemed to. Okay, that's cool. I quite like just this section here, so I'm going to cut that out. Just delete those notes there. I'm going to loop that, and I'm going to record that into Ableton. So I've got audio. Let's rename that. Let's call that bass. Okay, let's click on arm the recording. Stop that. I think if you double click on the stop button, it takes it right back to the beginning. It takes everything back to 0 or back to 1. So it's ready to record. So let's give this a shot. really need the length of that long, so let's just loop that. Let's loop that from here to here. Okay, so now we've got our bass. Turn that off. Don't need Reason anymore. Okay, that's like super bassy, so I'm just going to take the low end off of that, just tighten it up a bit. And I'm going to put a little notch into, oh, that's a big notch. Put a little bit of a notch in here around. Let's just see what those drums are coming in at. Okay, so around about here, I want to take a notch out of that bass, I think. Okay, that's cool. Compressor off, leave that on. Okay, the drums are sounding pretty cool. I could probably take the low end off of them. See, what I'm trying to do here is that I may have mentioned this in a couple of my other videos, that I just basically, to begin with, I try to just take a bit of energy out of the low end of everything, because I know that when you play these tracks on big sound systems, stuff below sort of 40 hertz, stuff that you can't really hear, it ends up wasting a lot of the energy produced by the amps. So if you imagine like you're making the speakers move, you're using energy from the amps to make the speakers move, but you can't actually hear that, so it's almost like wasted energy. And especially with dance music, you want as much power in everything that you can possibly get, because obviously louder's better. So yeah, let's so yeah, basically what I'm doing with the drums, I'm cutting the low end part off of them. That I don't know if it really makes that much, if you can really hear that much difference. So let's just solo that and listen to that. Yeah. See, down to like this, that's high pass at 30 hertz. I mean, these are producing some pretty low frequencies. Can't really hear that making any difference at the moment. We're usually around sort of like 40, 50 hertz. You can hear it sort of starting to make a difference. There we go. Around 50 and 60, you can hear that. But maybe just chop that low end off there. Let's listen to the sub. I mean, that's crazy. That's got some like mad frequencies going on all the way. Yeah, that's like super low bass, super low bass. So you can hear that. That's just removed all the subby sort of low end. You can't really hear that, but around here, 48, 50, that's starting to make quite a big difference. So maybe we'll just cut that off around 40 hertz. Okay. Also, another thing that you want to do is you may want to make that low end in mono. So we do that by using utility. Under utility, there is an effect called mono. You know, drag that on to here before any of the effects. Something that I've started doing as well recently is you go into the master channel and drop a mono utility on. Drop it onto the master channel. So you can hear what your track sounds like in mono, because big sound systems, like a lot of big sound systems, apparently run in mono. So yeah, you can basically, if your mix sounds good in mono, then in stereo it's going to sound awesome. You can hear the difference there. So that's in mono, that's in stereo. Okay, so that's like a pretty bassy beast so far. The next thing I want to look at making is a synth, some sort of synth line, and for that again I'm going to use I'm going to go back into Reason. I mean, you can do this in, obviously you can do this in Ableton, but this is just the way I work, I'm afraid. So yesterday watching Chris's well, it wasn't yesterday that he streamed it, but a few days ago. But watching Chris's stream, he tends to use he arpeggiates sort of chord sequences on using a random arpeggiator and using various using LFOs with random. Like a random setting to adjust the cutoff of those notes. So I'm going to give that a shot. I'm going to give a shot in building that in Reason. So I'm going to quickly whip over to Reason now, and I'll make that full screen. Let me just put that. If I put that here, right. Let's make that full screen so you can see what's going on. Okay. So let's have a look. So I've got my bass line going on here. What I'll do is I'll just mute that because I don't really need to use that, but I may want to go in and record something else a bit later. And I'm currently working in E, so let's choose. Thor's a good synth. I quite like Thor. It's pretty easy to use, and I've sort of got my head around programming that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop on a monophonic arpeggiator. Obviously, you can do all of this in Ableton. So say you were using. Let's minimize this, and I'll go back to Ableton quickly. So if you're using Ableton, I would be setting up like let's go to instruments. This is the equivalent of setting up like an analog synth here. Maybe some sort of pluck or something like that. Just put that on there, muted noise, and then I'd be using an arpeggiator. I think we've got an arpeggiator. Oh yeah, it's a MIDI effect. Yeah, arpeggiator. So I drag an arpeggiator onto here, and that's not making any noises at the moment. But let's draw some MIDI in there quickly. Let's draw some MIDI in. Let's just make a nice little chord. And let's just see. sounds like. I know it's just really basic, like 2 basic triads. Okay, so yeah, that's arpeggiated. Maybe we could go random, and then let's make the rate okay, so that's basically what I would be doing with the synth. It's exactly the same thing, but I'm going to do that in Reason and modify it slightly. So delete that. Let's put another channel in. Audio track input from Reason. Put that in on. Let's go back to Reason. Okay. So there is a really cool thing in Reason as well, which is incredibly helpful, which is the scales and chords player. I can drop one of those onto Thor. Now basically I'm going to set that to E, maybe like E Dorian or something like that. That might sound pretty nice. Let's see what that sounds like. So if I select Thor, okay, so this is playing, yeah, E Dorian scales is just playing chords from that. So if I right, cool. Let's record a chord sequence in there and then see what that sounds like. Seem a bit random. Right, I've got a load of random chords there. I'm going to quantize all of that and then just edit it all. So sounds pretty mad right now. Actually, quite like the sound of the chord that's over here. Oops. Let's just turn that off for a second. Okay, so let's work that through up. Sounds too musical to me, so I think that maybe I'll just go for some other some other kind of chord. Change the clip color. I can't see that very well on this screen. Yeah, I'm probably just gonna go for some other triad. Okay, so. Okay, that sounds pretty cool. Maybe I could. Okay, that sounds pretty cool, but I could do with opening and closing this filter. So yeah, I want to do that. So what I'm going to do is get the LFO2, which is down here. I'll put that onto tempo sync, and I'll make sure that that is on 16th notes, the same as this arpeggiator is. I want 100% of that to affect this filter frequency, filter 1 frequency, which is this filter here. So, and I want this to be on random, which is this. So let's give that a shot, see what that sounds like. Okay, so everything sounds like it's in mono at the moment. That's probably because I've got the mono one in the master here. Right, let's turn that off, and now let's listen to that again. Okay, that's cool. A bit sort of trancey. Okay, so that sounds pretty cool. I think my computer is struggling at the moment to keep up with stuff, so it might sound a little bit glitchy. So that's basically what's coming in from here. Might be nice to put a bit of noise in there as well, like just a slight bit of noise maybe. Okay, that sounds pretty cool. I'm just going to record a selection of that into live, and then we've got audio to play with. So I put record on that and record that in. Okay, so maybe make some sort of variation of that, maybe make it go up another octave. Just play with the detune a bit there. Okay, cool. Right, so now we've got some audio there. What I'm going to do is I am going to save this reason patch, and then I can close it down, and then hopefully it's not going to glitch too much. I think it's because I'm streaming at the same time as using pretty CPU heavy synths. So let's just save this as live stream Friday the 5th of June. Let's save that to the desktop, and then let's close that. Right, okay, so that's it. We're now back into Ableton properly. So we've got that section of audio there. Let's just listen to the whole thing. Oh, there we go. Let's just do it all together. previous little bit here. And I'm going to put on put another return channel in here and use max for live again. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the convolution reverb again. Now this is quite a cool little trick that I want the reverb. Oops, let's go back to that. Right, okay, so let's send the reverb from the synth. Let's call that synth 1. Okay, this is a trick that I learnt yesterday. Is to send the synth out to the convolution reverb here. So that should sound like that. Maybe could go for a plate reverb. Oh dear. Right, I think that Ableton's crashing, so I'm going to have to restart the stream. Right, stop